All right, welcome. Today, we are diving deep, and I mean really deep, into the engine room of life itself. We're talking about metabolism. You know, that silent, relentless chemical network that powers absolutely everything you do, from breathing to thinking to even dreaming. So let me ask you this. What's the energetic price of a single thought? Sounds kind of philosophical, right? But it's actually a straight-up biochemistry question. See, every single thing we do, every action, every thought, every heartbeat, it has a cost. And metabolism, that's the system that pays the bill. So how on earth does life manage this incredibly complex energy budget?
Well, it turns out that every single living thing on this planet, I'm talking from the smallest, tiniest bacterium, all the way up to a massive blue whale, they all face the exact same problem. It's this universal energy problem. How do you get energy from the world around you, and how do you use it to, well, stay alive?
You know, at its core, life is just this constant battle against chaos, against falling apart. And to win that battle, you've got to do all this stuff all the time. You have to keep your internal conditions just right. You've got to find energy out there in the world. You have to grow and reproduce, and you need to respond when things change. And all of that, all of it, requires a constant, controlled flow of energy. It's a huge, huge problem. But evolution's solution, oh, it's just beautiful. It's incredibly elegant.
And that elegant solution, it has a name. It's called adenosine triphosphate, or as we all know it, ATP. Now, if you think of metabolism as the economy of life, then ATP is its universal currency. It's the dollar, the euro, the yen of the cellular world. Every living thing gets it, every living thing uses it.
So what exactly is this stuff? Well, ATP is this amazing little molecule that's just perfectly designed to carry chemical energy. Think of it like a tiny delivery truck. It picks up energy from the food we break down, and then it drives it over to wherever it's needed to power just countless other reactions in the cell. And I'm not exaggerating here. Without ATP, life as we know it would just stop. It would grind to a complete halt.
Okay, but why? What makes this one molecule so darn special? The best analogy, really, is to think of it like a tightly coiled spring. The energy isn't just passively sitting there. No, it's stored in the tension of that spring, just waiting, ready to be released in a powerful burst at a moment's notice.
Let's peek under the hood at the science behind that spring analogy. So ATP has these three parts called phosphate groups, and they're all negatively charged. You know what that means, right? They hate each other. They are desperately trying to push away from each other. So when the cell breaks one of those phosphates off, snap, all that tension is released in this huge burst of useful energy. Plus, the molecules left over are way more stable. They're happier in the cell's watery environment. It's this perfect combination of features that makes ATP the cell's ideal, tiny, rechargeable battery.
All right, so if ATP is the money, then just like any real economy, metabolism has two main sides to it, right? You've got earning money and you've got spending money. And the cell is doing both of these things constantly, all to keep its budget perfectly balanced.
And those two sides have names, catabolism and anabolism. Catabolism, that's the earning energy part. It's all about breaking down bigger molecules, like when you digest your food. That process releases energy, which you then use to make or earn your ATP. Then you have anabolism. That's the spending energy side. This is where you use that ATP to build new, complex things, like when your body makes muscle protein. So earning and spending, breaking down and building up. That's the fundamental rhythm of your entire metabolism.
But, you know, just like in our economy, sometimes you need a whole bunch of cash, like right now. Think about doing an all-out sprint. You can't just wait for your lunch to digest. That's way too slow. So the cell needs a backup plan, a way to get to energy super fast for those moments of high demand.
And that's where molecules like phosphocreatine come into play. This is brilliant. If ATP is the cash you have in your wallet right now, then phosphocreatine is like the money you've got on a high-yield savings account. It's right there, ready to go. In fact, in a resting muscle, you've got about 5 times more phosphocreatine than ATP. So the second your cash on hand runs low, phosphocreatine can instantly transfer its energy to whip up a new batch of ATP. It's what keeps the lights on during those first few seconds of intense activity.
Now, you might be imagining all these thousands of chemical reactions just happening randomly, bouncing around inside the cell like a chaotic soup. But that's not how it works at all. It's actually incredibly organized. These reactions are arranged into super efficient, enzyme-driven sequences we call metabolic pathways. The best way to picture it is a factory assembly line.
Okay, so the most basic type is a linear pathway. It's exactly what it sounds like, a straight shot from start to finish.
You start with molecule A, an enzyme converts it to B, another enzyme converts B to C, and then C becomes your final product, D. Each step has its own specific enzyme, its own little worker, making sure the whole process is smooth and totally under control.
But hey, not all assembly lines are straight. Life is more creative than that. Some pathways are cyclic. They actually form a closed loop. The famous citric acid cycle is a great example. It ends by regenerating the exact molecule it started with, so it's ready to go again. Then you have spiral pathways, where the same set of enzymes gets used over and over again to add bits to a molecule, making it bigger and bigger, like when we build fatty acids. It's biological manufacturing at its absolute finest.
So, with all of this production, all these assembly lines running, a really important question comes up. How does the cell make sure it doesn't make way too much of something or not enough? I mean, how does it keep this incredibly complex economy from just completely crashing? The one-word answer? Regulation.
And one of the most common and frankly most ingenious ways the cell does this is through something called feedback inhibition. The best way to think about it is like the thermostat in your house. When the room gets warm enough, or in the cell's case, when enough of the final product has been made, the thermostat sends a signal to the furnace to just shut off for a while.
Here's how it actually works, and it's so cool. The final product that comes off the end of the assembly line, it literally floats back to the very beginning of the line and temporarily blocks the first enzyme. It's like putting a pause sign on the whole operation. Then, once the cell starts to use up that product and the supply gets low, the block is removed and boom, the assembly line kicks back into gear. It's such a simple, elegant feedback loop that prevents waste and keeps everything in perfect balance. So, we've been talking about all this tiny, intricate machinery inside our cells. What does it all mean for you and me in our everyday lives? Well, it means everything. It's the direct, unbroken link between the food on your plate and the life that you live.
Think about it. The food you eat, all those carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, that's the raw fuel for your metabolic engine. Your body shoves them into those catabolic pathways we talked about, breaking them down piece by piece to earn the ATP that powers, well, everything. Your muscles, your nerves, and yes, even your thoughts.
And here, to me, is the most profound part of this whole story. These central pathways, the way cells make and use ATP, the basic design of these metabolic assembly lines, they're virtually identical across almost all known life. The same fundamental biochemistry that is powering you right now is also powering a mushroom, a giant redwood tree, and the bacteria living in your gut. It's incredible.
This shared, ancient metabolic engine, it's one of the most stunning pieces of evidence we have for a single common ancestor for all life on Earth. It's a universal blueprint passed down through billions of years of evolution. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What does this intricate, perfectly conserved economy, humming away at the very heart of our cells, truly tell us about the origin of life itself and where we all came from?